My mind is like a switchboard with crossed and tangled lines, contented with confusion that is plugged into my head. I don't know what's going on. It's the operator's job, not mine, I said.
Punk started in the mid-70s and took over the underground in the United States. It has always had political indifference which is heard throughout its lyrics. The genre itself was made in spite of communism. The first punk rock bands started as garage bands in the 60s. One of the first major female-led punk bands was X-Ray Spex, whose singer Polly Styrene was a major influence on the emergence of Riot Grrrl. Although in the 70s, punk seemed to be fairly gender-neutral, as time went on, the scene became dominated by men, who saw punk rock as a representation of their masculinity and weren't ecstatic about sharing punk with feminists, let alone bands of strong and loud feminists. The Riot Grrrls would see punk as a scene that they wanted to escape to, but found themselves worried for their safety. This is Riot Grrrl, a story of how these girls fought for the right to rock. At Olympia, Washington in 1989, a college student named Kathleen Hanna had started herself a project to get the word about feminism out to her colleagues and anyone willing to listen. Her project was the first Riot Grrrl zine, which is a self-published magazine. The zine was titled Girl Power and would be the inspiration for her to make the Riot Grrrl Manifesto, which would be life-changing to many young women. One being Jen Smith, who in the following year made plans with Hannah for a band they said would start a girl riot. The band was named Bikini Kill. Here's what Smith had to say about the emergence of the band.
I feel like Bikini Kill and Bratmobile and our friends sort of had this idea that was like called the Revolution Girl Style Now. And that was sort of like our idea of like, let's just, let's get all these girls to learn how to play instruments and take over, and like people reacted to what we did very strongly, Either they really loved it or they really hated it. And a lot of times that was kind of hard to deal with, especially just starting out. A lot of times I thought we would just be asking questions and people saw us as really sort of like dogmatic or whatever, but I thought that was really not how it was at all. Maybe our presentation was sort of dogmatic or whatever, because every show we played was like a war, because like guys would try to beat us up and stuff, like it was really violent, and we had a lot of fans and we didn't have any crowd control, we didn't have a manager, We'd just play these crazy places like, bowling alleys, and they'd cram like 600 people in there and stuff, no security.
Sharon Chelslow grew up in Washington, D.C. in the 70s. She listened to female punk bands like the Slits, who would be her main inspiration. This started with their brief interaction at D.C.'s 930 Club, where the band's lead singer, Ramona Carlyer, told her, "You can't deny the fact that you are a woman, but the most important thing you can focus on is music." Sharon had always thought that being in a band would make her one of the guys. Because of the Slits, she realized that she never really wanted to fit into a pre-existing punk scene, but realizes she was wrong. She states in an interview, "I wanted to create my own culture." This led to her making DC's first all-girl band, Chalk Circle. With all of the activism going on in 1992, between the riots in California for Rodney King, to rock the vote raising political awareness in young adults, and take back the night protecting youth in college campuses, it was the perfect time for Riot Grrrl's Kathleen Hanna and Allison Wolfe to publish a new zine, named Bikini Kill after Kathleen Hanna's band. The first issue was Revolution, Girl Style Now. While writing the new project, Hanna and Wolfe asked themselves two questions. How could they change what it means to be a girl, and how could they reinvent feminism for Generation X? Revolution Girl Style Now told girls it was okay to cry in public, or to get angry, to resist psychic death, and to fight the man, but most importantly, to be there for your fellow girls, while making your voice heard through music. One zine explains Riot Grrrl like this. Riot Grrrl is because we know that life is much more than physical survival, and are patently aware that punk rock, you can do anything idea, is crucial to becoming the angry girl rock revolution, which seeks to save the psychic and cultural lives of girls and women everywhere. according to our own terms, not ours. Because we are angry at a society that tells us Grrrl equals dumb, Grrrl equals bad, and Grrrl equals weak. Because I believe with my whole heart, mind, body that girls constitute a revolutionary soul force that can and will change the world for real. The name Riot Grrrl has multiple meanings. Instead of being Riot Woman, it is Grrrl because of the mindset of youth. A quote from the book Girl Power explains the reasoning behind the name like this. When girls are little, they are true to their beliefs, speaking their minds and getting angry. They are confident and proud of being different. They're happy to resist authority to them. None of life's roads are blocked off yet. Later, the name was changed to Riot Grrrl as we know today, given the 3 R's to make the fierce growling noise that defines the courage that it takes to stand up and the courage it takes to use your voice. War also had a meaning. They wore a mix of clothes. Normally this was wearing plaid skirt, knits, or baby tees with combat boots or ripped stockings. This was to signify the girly, soft, and open-minded childlike way of looking at life, mixed with the willingness to fight authority or anyone who says that they can't be themselves. Another important part of Riot Grrrl was taking what you thought opposing people were thinking and confronting them with it by writing it on their stomach in Sharpie. An example of this is seen during a protest at a pro-choice rally held outside of a courthouse in 1992. The girl with the crop top on has rape written on her stomach, just one of many reasons that a woman may want to get an abortion or why she should be able to. How does Riot Grrrl relate to communication? It was the communication of how they felt all girls deserved to be treated that allowed the freedoms they wanted to exist. Their communication took place in the zines they wrote that inspired young girls everywhere to feel valid and believe that they could do whatever they wanted despite society's norms. Riot Grrrls participated in activism taking place all across the punk scene, from the United States to the UK, which spread the message that they wanted freedom and liberties. The Riot Grrrl Manifesto is probably the closest connection to National History Day this year. The manifesto contained what the girls thought was right, and they communicated it through any platform that they could, until those who were holding them back had no choice but to listen and to understand. The music of the 70s to the early 90s spoke out about Riot Grrrl's beliefs in a way that captivated people who were yearning for the powerful sound of music, but also the powerful lyricism which displayed an array of emotions, running on high while fighting for the liberties and safety of your fellow girls. From exposing womanizers as peons to bringing up the beauty of women who love themselves despite what others may say, and giving girls everywhere the power to confront their problems instead of hiding from them. If you ask me, the connection of communication and understanding can be best described in the words of Kathleen Hanna in the Riot Grrrl Manifesto. Riot Grrrl is because we want to make it easier for girls to see and hear each other's work, so that we can share strategies and criticize and applaud each other. This is great for understanding Riot Grrrl because not only does this one sentence sum up why Riot Grrrl was important for feminism in the punk scene, but it helps people on the outside understand that these girls weren't just self-entitled feminists, but people who really wanted to bring each other up, and have been doing so since the 70s.